Hi, I'm Michael, and this is Carelifornia. And last week, many of the most important protections in the CARES Act expired. And although it would make sense that people now having uncertainty about their income, about their food benefits, and their housing benefits would serve to push lawmakers into action, maybe to negotiate, to compromise, and ultimately to weave together a last-second bill to save the day. But as the saying goes, disappointers, they never fail to disappoint. And so far, the House and the Senate and the White House are so far apart they can't even hear each other making their demands. So this evening, we are going to do an update about where Congress and the White House are in their negotiations, how Trump insists on an unpopular payroll tax cut that could dramatically hurt Social Security retirement benefits, Medicare benefits, SSI, and SSDI, and how likely it is to get a stimulus package passed in the next 4 days before Congress goes on their month-long recess. Now this is your 5-minute nightly dose, so let's make this quick. But before we do that, if you like this information, if you find it interesting, if you find it helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. Right now, Monday evening, Congress has still failed to make any real progress on their negotiations for the next stimulus bill. All the while, President Trump is insisting upon a payroll tax cut that neither the Senate nor the House are interested in. And despite Congress's disinterest, the White House is pushing the payroll tax cut, even by executive order if necessary, because they believe it'll put more money into the pockets of workers. But ultimately, this is a penny-wise and pound-foolish proposal. This is because payroll taxes are one of the primary ways that Social Security and Medicare are funded. 6.2% of payroll taxes goes towards the Social Security Retirement Trust Fund, and 1.45% goes towards Medicare's. So cutting these taxes could have severe and dramatic long-term consequences on all of our Medicare and Social Security benefits. Another one of the biggest issues with this plan is that although having a payroll tax holiday would actually put more money into the hands of workers, it would mainly help the wealthy and the business owners. Since payroll tax is a percentage of earning, people who have higher earnings end up getting a lot more money than people with lower incomes. In fact, the poorest employees under this proposal will receive the least amount of benefit, all the while removing much needed funds from the already shaky Medicare and Social Security trust funds that these same exact employees will need once they retire. Given the current rate, the trust funds will be unsustainable by 2035, and that would only be accelerated by these payroll tax cuts. Democrats, on the other hand, seem to be more united and holding their ground. They apparently think that the suffering Americans are about to endure is going to cost the Republicans and the White House a lot more than it will reflect on them. Today, after a meeting at Nancy Pelosi's office with White House negotiators, Pelosi said it was productive. We're moving down the track, but still have our differences, end quote, when describing the meeting. And Chuck Schumer, after that same meeting, was more optimistic, and he said there are a lot of issues still outstanding, but I think there is a desire to get something done as soon as we can, end quote. But when he asked would there be a deal in the next 48 hours, both didn't have a response. So yes, ultimately something will probably get passed, but it's not apparent that it'll be done in the necessary time to avoid the millions of Americans who are currently stuck hanging on those benefits cliffs. Republicans do not seem to have the same luxury of cohesion as do the Democrats. Mitch McConnell acknowledges that not all of his Republican senators are on board with the next round of stimulus checks. Additionally, he indicated on Kentucky radio that more than a few of the GOP senators would vote against any stimulus package. He said, I think there are 15 to 20 of my guys that are not going to vote for anything. It's a statement of the obvious that we will not have everybody on our side, end quote. To further shed despair on the likelihood of the next stimulus package happening within this week, Republican Senator Mike Crapo of Idaho sent out letters to a variety of federal agencies, including the Department of Housing and Urban Development, to find ways to continue to help Americans who are likely going to continue struggling until the next round of stimulus packages are passed, an apparent sign of his uncertainty that the deal cannot be had within this next week. One of the most frustrating things about this whole thing is the political games. It's all fine and good when Congress is squabbling about what is the appropriate manner to handle the name of a new national park. But when it comes to people going hungry, when it comes to people losing their livelihoods and their homes, now is not the time for politicians to be petty and stubborn. For most of their careers, they're able to make decisions that are mostly inconsequential to the average Americans. But now, when both sides are needed most, they've all decided to answer the call to inaction with zeal. This is just sad and unfair. If they can't get a deal together by the end of this week, I bet there's going to be some serious changes come this election season.